Start closer to home with some of the varied and emotional reactions that we saw right here today.
I come today with a very heavy heart. Last night I couldn't sleep at all because President Trump, our president, has literally betrayed the conscience of our country. The very moral fabric in which we've made progress when it comes to race relations in America, he's failed us. No. I am sorry. I believe that, and I'm being very honest. As someone who's been talking about these issues for a very long time, I'm sorry that this is where we are right now, and I hope the president learns a lesson from his press conference on yesterday. It's disturbing.
Gianno, these are very sensitive topics. You're talking about something totally different. No one said equivocal. No one said equal, and that's one of the places where this went off the rails. He never said equal blame.
He said there were very good people among the neo-Nazi protesters. He did. Don't roll your eyes. He did say those words.
He didn't say there were very good people among neo-Nazi protesters.
He said there were very good people on the other.
Look, can I tell you this? I am so uncomfortable having this conversation, and that's what this woman said before this, because I know what's in my heart, and I know that I don't think anyone is different, better, or worse based on the color of their skin, but I feel like there is nothing any of us can say right now without being judged.
You know, Melissa, there have been a lot of tears on our network and across the country and around the world.
Here now, Melissa Francis, host of After the Bell on Fox Business Network, and Gianno Caldwell, founder of Caldwell Strategic Consulting and a Republican political analyst. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me
tonight. I watched very closely when both of you were speaking earlier today, and we wanted to talk to you further about it. Melissa, let me start with you. What bothers you about the shape that this debate has taken?
Well, I have to say, I mean, first of all, I was embarrassed by coming to tears in front of everybody, and that's not something we ever want to do. And in the aftermath of that, a lot of people were supportive, and a lot of people were really hateful on social media to me after that as well. And a lot of people were supportive, but it really went both ways. And, you know, I didn't want to get out there and have that conversation today because it is so raw. And I feel like we're all sort of yelling at each other in this country right now, and no one is bothering to listen to where the other person is coming from. And what I was trying to say there was that I know what's in my heart. And I know for a fact that I don't think people are better or worse based on the color of their skin or their genetics or where they came from, any of that. I know I'm not a racist, but I feel like getting involved in the conversation one way or the other, no matter what I say, one side is going to yell at me. And we know that. We experience that all the time in news. No matter what you say, either someone from the left or someone from the right comes and yells at you. And when I watch that original video of what went on, I watch it from the perspective of I'm a woman and I'm a mother, and what I see is out of control violence, and that scares me. Yeah. It scares me for my safety, and it scares me for the safety of my kids. Now, what I've learned in the past couple of days is that everyone looks at that video and sees something else from their perspective, and they see the violence and it scares them in a different way. And if we could talk openly about it, maybe we could get to a place where we could figure out why this is happening and stopping it. But claiming to know what's in someone else's heart with whom you're trying to have a conversation is dumb, because you don't know what's in someone else's heart.
Let me bring Gianno here. So what I'm hearing from you is that the words that the president said, you felt, he said that he, you know, obviously was very against neo-Nazis, against this movement, this white nationalist movement, and that he grieved for the loss of this young woman in the middle of all that violence. What in it, and what about what happened yesterday wasn't enough for you? And what do you believe? You know, you're making a judgment, I think, about what's in the president's heart on this, and you've taken it to heart.
Well, I disagree with that in terms of I'm making a judgment about what's in the president's heart. For me, it was the tone, tenor, and the content of what he said. He knew that talking about race was a very sensitive issue to many in this country, whether they be people of color, Jewish, or anything else. There's a lot of Americans that were fearful when they watched what happened on Saturday. This president knows that. So when he says that there are Nazis, there are white supremacists that are in the crowd, and there's good people on both sides, I wonder, to the president, where are the good people you're referring to, specifically that are on the sides of the Nazis?
Okay.
Are these folks that are Nazi sympathizers and they're piling around with them? Are these people who are interested in a life and they just want to get involved? To me, those folks are racist. If you're hanging around with Nazis, they're racist.
All right, go ahead,
now we
Melissa.
have a scenario
No, I was
playing
going to say,
out.
I completely agree with you entirely. And I have no idea what he meant to say there, and we all know that when he goes off on a tangent, he says all kinds of things. To me, I don't want to make it about what the president was saying right now, because you're right. There are no good people among neo-Nazis. I was not out there to defend them when I was talking this afternoon, and that's not even the subject. It's sort of, how do we get to a point where we can have a conversation without the president about what happened there and how we cannot have, it's wrong for so many reasons, and it's terrifying to everyone.
So this is the point. The president made it the conversation. We could be on air right now talking about the protesters.
About infrastructure,
we could be talking
about sanctions, about a lot of other things we plan to talk about.
A lot of other things. And those are things that I would rather talk about moving our country forward. First and foremost, listening to one another. If we want to truly unite our country, it's not, oh, I have my point of view and I'm right and you're wrong.
No, you're right.
We need to listen. So this president must, and I called the White House on Monday after I saw what happened on Saturday. I saw the statement put out. I called them. I said, look, that isn't sufficient. The president needs to get in front of the cameras and he needs to establish a dialogue on race, because there's obviously people that feel in ways passion on both sides of the issue, and if we're not simply having the discussion, listening to one another like we're doing right now, thank you, Martha, for establishing this segment, then we're losing and we're dividing, and our country continues to be divided. And for the president's agenda, he gets nothing done.
You're both right, and I think we have to remember that these individuals are very small in number, and they do not represent the rest of us in America. So we can't give a broad brush and put everybody in either one category or the other, which is simply not fair. And I want you guys to stick around and watch. We're going to show, and thank you very much for being here, both of you.
Thank you.
And I